everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Butterfly Analogy. My name is Alex, and on today's episode, I have a very special guest. He's actually been a guest with us before, and he's known as a Moonlight Bruja. So I hope you guys can kind of guess on as to who I have on the show today. But if you don't remember, his name is Uriel. He's a psychic medium, and he also does Reiki healing sessions too. So if you're ever interested, I'll have all his information on the description below. But further or not, welcome Uriel back onto the podcast.
Hi Chana, thanks for having me back on.
Of course. How are you?
I'm doing really good for the first month of 2022.
How has the year been treating you?
It's been treating me pretty well, pretty enlightening.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm very grateful that you have me back on to talk about what we're going to talk about today.
Of course. And honestly, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day, because I know you're busy with your readings and helping other people out on their personal journeys. And I truly appreciate you helping me out on my personal journey as well.
Anytime. Which is why, what we're mainly here for is to kind of really discuss what it means to be a psychic or medium in the Afro-Caribbean traditions and religions and all of that we're going to talk about.
And the importance behind being a true healer, because I know sometimes we find ourselves in certain situations where we are met with healers or people who say they are healers when their intentions aren't as such. And they could have kind of like a business mindset behind it and kind of place that first than the actual healing aspect. Oh, it's Salem! This is Uriel's cat, guys.
This is Salem.
He
came to say hello.
He did. He's the cutest thing. You know, have you ever heard that saying where people say your pets kind of look like you? Mm-hmm. He kind of has your face. He kind of does.
Don't break that, Salem.
Salem. He wanted to come out and speak on the podcast too, guys.
Yeah. He's my familiar.
So when did you first get him, or when did he become a part of the family?
Well, Salem actually found us because we weren't looking for a cat 5 years ago. He was a little baby when he was lost from his mom, and then he just let us hold him, and he's been with us since then. He's become a part of the family.
He picked your soul tribe.
Yes, and that's what they say about cats. You don't choose them, they choose you.
They choose you.
So I do believe that he chose to stay here with us, and look how loving he is.
I know.
You would never think that a cat would be this sweet.
I know.
He's the sweetest when he's not breaking anything.
Like right now. No, he is really sweet though. My cats really don't give a poop about me. Like, like I came back from El Salvador, and then my cat was chilling under the kitchen table, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm back," and then he just looks at me and he runs away. You're gonna take him off the table? Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, Salem.
It's okay, Salem. Not on today's episode.
Cameo.
That's so cute. So we went to IHOP today, guys, and we had a very nice breakfast.
Yes.
I ate a big meal.
And so did I. My Swedish crepes.
I know. I had crepes too. But we had an interesting conversation on how you kind of deviated away from your spiritual practice and you kind of went into a different career path. Can you touch a little bit upon that?
So basically with being born medium, because I think that's mainly what it is. Before the psychic, before the divination, before anything, I'm a medium. It's something I was born seeing the other side, hearing them, feeling them, and just knowing that there's more than what meets the eye here. And, I started reading at a really young age, which would have been the age of 17 if I can go back. So from 17 to 19, my mom would bring her girlfriends, and I would read for them, and I would see stuff for them. And then, it just started off from there. And then I had a gentleman come in for a reading, and he really resonated with everything. His mom that came through when I read him, who had been crossed over most of his life because she died when he was in his teens. And everything that I had told them in that particular time had came to be. So then he gave me the chance of exploring a job within as a waiter in a country club setting, and I took it. I took it as, to experience something different, something new. So I loved waitering, and then I went in to do other stuff. And then I also dabbled a little bit in readings, a little bit more with myself, in a store called Sugar Beast that was there at one point in Rockville, in Huntington, in Wilmington Mall. And it was there for a year or two, and I met a lovely family that helped me to read there. They gave me a space to read there.
So was it like a spiritual store or a crystal store?
No, it was a candy store.
Oh, it was a candy store.
It was a candy store.
Oh, okay.
Sugar. So people would get candy, and then they would come in for a reading because they saw, or they would book a reading, and it was a pretty cool, fun, new setting for me.
New environment.
It was a new environment, and I decided to kind of want to explore more of what it is outside of the psychic, outside of the medium, mainly because I wanted to expand my own experiences,
of course,
past what I had known. So that's when I deviated. I did work from home at 17, doing psychic readings, mediumships, and then Sugar Bees for a little bit outside of the home. So I would read here, or I would go there. And then when I decided to go into the waitering, I put this on temporary hold.
Okay.
People did still keep calling me. People did still keep looking for me. And I feel like I did what was integrate for myself at that point. I wanted to know more of who I was
outside of
my
practice.
Normal routine. And I learned a lot through work and in a different setting.
Of course.
I don't want to say normal, because we talked about who has the right to define what normal is.
Of course, yeah.
So I said, let me just give it different work a different shot and see what happens. And I learned a lot. And it wasn't until around my 21st birthday where I felt very ill. I had a very bad illness, and I almost had a stomach eruption.
Wow. And
I had to get surgery. And I remember going to the hospital in the middle of the night, and I remember the doctor telling me, your stomach's about to erupt. And, I remember them giving me stuff and helping me. And then I remember going through surgery, and then I remember, just waking up from stuff and being asked, did I know how to speak certain languages, because I was chanting in certain languages.
Of course.
Through the anesthesia. But I can remember talking to God and saying to him, if it's not my time to go and you give me a second chance, I will go back and finish or pick up what I left off in the readings.
Why was that your promise to him? Was there something you saw, or was there something you felt, or?
I just felt that at 21, to just have some form of near-death experience. I think that at any age, you just reflect on what is my life, or what am I doing, or what was I doing that out of, I don't know, maybe arrogance or anything else, I kind of went off.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that go into your mind. But I feel that I came back to the readings because I realized maybe there was something that I have to fulfill in this lifetime, like that I chose to come in.
Yeah.
My purpose. And I said to God, if this is my second chance to come back, I will fulfill it. I will read. I will study. I will help. I will be of service to humanity. And I will fulfill what I started way back.
Exactly.
Before I took a break from the readings. I went to work at a certain agency for in a social work agency for the LGBTQ community, and I was there for a while of my life, my early 20s. I'm now 31. And, I was put in a campaign to advocate, and I did a lot in a short amount of time, and I was able to meet and interact with a lot of people that didn't know this part of me because I put it on hold. So I'm pretty sure when people started to see my post and the videos and the testimonies that I work with people, I didn't want them to feel like I woke up one day and said, this is what I choose to be. I was born this way. I just chose to take a break from it. And then when I came to that moment with God, that humility maybe.
Of course, yeah, humbling.
I came back to this. So I think out of everything, I want people to know I just didn't wake up one day and say, this is what I'm going to be for the rest of my life.
And this is what I want to do. Yeah.
I feel like, I was born like this. Lady Gaga says it all the time. We're born this way.
Born this way.
Born this way. But not only that, I think that I want people to know that, we are real in a sense. There are real mediums. There are real psychics. There are real healers. But
it's hard to really believe that when there's people out there kind of saying or taking this title without really encompassing the title behind it.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what was my fear in a sense, what became a fear and being so open about it. I was so secretive about it.
Yeah.
And then coming out with it, I didn't want people to think like, wow, he just left everything and went to this.
And became this new person. Yeah.
It was something I really was all along.
Of course.
But I kind of gave that person a little time to heal. Maybe I needed to heal that part of me.
Yeah.
And be integrated and saying, hey, right now I need to pull away from the readings and discover other parts of myself aside from what it means to connect to the other side. So the moment that I found myself almost going there, I said to God, well, if this is your will, then I'm ready. But if it's not, then I will fulfill what has to be done. Mm-hmm. And I will continue to, no matter what happens, stick by the gift you gave me and helping others in the way that I can. I don't want to tell anyone that, we're gods, that because we're psychic. And I tell this to everyone. It doesn't make me immune to any life trials and tribulations. I go through my same struggles with losses of any form, like everybody that comes into the door. The only thing with me is that I'm able to connect with my loved ones and the angels and God, in a sense, and really listen to him and be able to come out of my stuff and then help others in that way.
Of course.
I think that we all have a level of intuition and ESP. But I suppose what makes it different is that everyone in general can connect to your loved ones. That bond is still the same. You like with your grandma, if you take your time to really say, Grandma, I want to feel you, you will know. Like
there were little messages too. I remember like her favorite song would play on the radio, coincidentally, but at the same time, it's like, why would her favorite song be playing at like 5 a.m? You know what I mean? Yeah. On a crazy radio station and stuff.
But that was her. You could connect that, and that was your bond to her.
Exactly.
And everybody has that. The thing that makes it different in a medium is we are able to connect it past our loved ones. So I'm able to connect with your grandma, and I'm able to connect with the couple that lost their son. I'm able to connect with them and see them. And be able to pass on those messages that continue to validate the bond you shared. And sometimes people say, why can't I see them? Or why can't they come to me like they came to you today? I'll have someone say to me, wow, they've been gone for so long, and everything you told me from the beginning is them, and the little details and things you told me. But why can't they do that for me if I'm able to, right? And what I've been told, and I say this, what I've been told through readings and what I've been told from the other side and what I've been told from loved ones is sometimes it takes them a good year to get a good penicillin shot to be able to come back and give you those signs. Most of the time, there's a time frame where the spirit is still unpacking. And,
like their own life,
and processing.
I guess? Oh, wow.
And for them to come and be able to sit with you is not their time. So when I've had someone come, and I'll never forget it, he said to me, if we sit down today and you say to me the things that I hope I can hear, I'm going to be mind blown. And I said to him, don't get ahead of yourself, or don't put an expectation. Let it flow. Much, yeah. Let it flow. Because I'm like, I don't want you to feel that if whatever you want to hear doesn't come out, that it'll never. But he said, no. I heard good things about you. I didn't think much of it. As I'm reading, his name comes up, and I give it to him, and he starts to tear. And he says, wow, I didn't know if you would be able to pick up on this particular person, but you said their name, and I really want to hear from them. We talked about it. I gave them the messages. I talked about the Christmas tree ornament that was in the shape of a car that he had. He actually pulled it out and put it on the table.
Wow.
And he was like, well, how do you know these? I'm like, well, she's here.
Yeah.
So long. I have one rule when anybody comes in. And it is, any questions you have, any curiosity, anything you want to know, save to the end of my session. Because most likely, in the time we're together, I'm going to answer it, but I want it to be integrate. I don't want you to feel like, oh, he brought it up because I asked.
Yeah.
But if at the end I didn't bring up what you wanted, I give you the time. And a lot of the times people don't even bring it up because I've already touched on it
and answered their question.
But that's what makes an integrate medium, an integrate psychic.
Of course,
we set the boundary, we set the setting. And like I'm very real and honest, and I say, if I don't answer what you want to know, I do give you the time at the end to ask anything or even gain more clarity. So at the end of it all, he says to me, I'm going to tell you why from the beginning. I said, if you bring up this person, I'm going to be mind blown. According to what he said to me, the person that came through had passed away a week ago that same day.
Wow.
So when he was booking to see me, that person had already crossed. It wasn't until the next week
that you guys had your reading together.
And I was mind blown because I remember sitting channeling, and I could feel the spirit trying to connect.
Yeah.
But I could feel this big gap between me and the spirit, and I didn't understand it.
Had that ever happened to you before? No.
But then I understood that it was because the woman had only crossed a week before.
Prior, yeah.
So she hadn't been in heaven that long. She was only been in heaven about a week. Mm-hmm. So that's when I understood that that's what it is to be a medium. I am able to transcend this physical world and meet them where they are. My soul, my energy.
Yeah.
It's able to go to them and find them.
Yeah.
And channel their messages. She couldn't come because I felt it.
Yeah.
I had to go. Energetically, I had to go to her. And I was able to find her. But I didn't know this is who this person wanted to talk to. I just felt this feels a little different. Mm-hmm. I feel like I had to put more work to being able to connect with whomever is trying to reach out. Like, I have to go there. But then when I was told she had only been gone a week, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
She's still unpacking. She's still adjusting. She's still transitioning. And she hasn't gotten that penicillin shot of a year where she's able to come and go up and down from heaven, because that is possible.
Yeah.
She is a spirit.
She's able to transition between both worlds.
But it takes a while
to get that power.
And for me to be able to sit and digest what I had just done for this person. Yeah. And not only that, but what they did for me. They helped me to understand my gift a little bit better and how I'm able to really move my energy,
of course,
to find these beings. And that you don't pay for. Those are the things, and that's what I'm trying to also do through this time together.
Yeah.
It's almost like helping people understand
the difference between someone with a true practice and someone with a given,
but something spiritual.
Yeah.
I think that people always ask or want to know how to be more relaxed or spiritually oriented or grow spiritually or evolve spiritually. And the bottom line of it is just show up to your life. Do what you have to do and take care of what has to be taken care of.
I wanted to touch upon that when you were saying how you felt like you needed to take that time away to actually heal, because that essentially is what you were doing. You were showing up to your life and putting what you teach into practice.
Living by example.
Exactly. And sometimes I feel like healers kind of shy away from that, where it's like they teach, but they're not really doing what they teach. Yeah.
Now, I've told people that come to this table, I don't want to come off as a preacher because nobody likes that.
Yeah.
But when I do go into those kind of moments in life, it's what I know in my spirit. It's what I've known in my soul that I like to share with others to help them, understand parts of their life. Because like I said, I'm not immune to the trials and tribulations that the mundane world puts us all through.
Of course.
But, I've seen a lot of, even in my own personal experience, a lot of scamming.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. So, as a medium yourself, have you ever gone to mediums before?
I have met with... I went for spiritual guidance, a spiritual mentor, for spiritual enlightenment, because I knew there was something in me that I didn't have full understanding of.
Yeah.
And through my own experiences, I can relate with the people I meet now who have been taken advantage of, who have paid the $12,000, who have paid the $2,000, and say to me, nothing changed. In fact, the only thing that changed was my bank account, because now
I'm broke. Like now.
Yeah. But I have been in that position, and I have met with people in that predicament, and I've gone to spiritual seances, because basically that's what they are. They're spiritual reunions, but they're a seance. You're invoking, you're calling
in a spirit.
Yeah.
Or can you potentially accidentally call in something that is not enlightening?
Yes, you can. And I think that all of those experiences that I've gone through were meant to be for me to really process that we have to be careful who we're looking up.
Exactly.
Who we choose to look up to.
And
do
you have any signs or red flags, would you say, to kind of help our viewers or anyone that you come across in making sure that they don't fall into one of these traps or scams or cults, would you call them?
Yes. What I've come to notice in my practice is you will have people that use fear as a tactic. You have to listen to that. What religion are they following? Even if it's Christianity, right? Even if it's Catholicism, even if it's Wicca, even if it's the Afro-Caribbean traditions, which is, that one's more popular. Those are the most popular. The Santeria, the Palo, all of that, right? I've been through all of that. But what I've come to understand is you can't Google that because it is tradition. It is passed from hand to hand. But you have to be aligned with yourself. The first thing to do is find your foundation spiritually on your own.
What did that look like for you?
For me is how I practice connecting to the other side.
Okay.
And believing in what I'm feeling, knowing, seeing, sensing, smelling.
Yeah.
And if you smell bullshit, if alarms go on, then trust it and say, there's something wrong, I'm leaving. But that's what happens a lot in these systems and these customs. You do have to go and knock on doors. You do have to go and become part of this community. But when you're in it, don't give your trust so easily. Don't give your money so fast.
Of course.
Step back and look deep.
It's okay to question.
Yeah. And if they don't allow you to question, then you're in a cult. Even before you start giving money. So that's even a given. Like if they tell you can't question anything, you're in a cult. So don't do that. But I have my I have my notes of the stuff that have crossed my mind with the red flags. I think that in the Afro-Caribbean traditions and any traditions really, you are healers. We are healers because It's a whole system, right? You have to learn a science with the quarry shells, with the shells, with the coconut shells, whatever you're using to divine. But essentially, you're receiving healing messages for those that are coming, but they're not coming from you. They're coming from the system you're using. And you hope that the person that's initiating you, your spiritual parents, are teaching you the system correctly so that you can heal who's coming to look for help. So to me, that's a system of healing. You are healers, and you're right. And then there are the seers. I told you my experience as a young child in high school. I looked at a teacher, looked at her straight in the eyes, and I said to her, there's something in your throat, and if you don't get it checked out, you're going to die. The woman thought I had it out for her. She thought I was going to, do something not nice. And she told everyone. The school was watching me, my school social worker. And I said to them, no, I see something in her throat. And then if she doesn't get it checked out, she's going to die. And I think this woman saw that I was genuinely seeing something.
Yeah.
And she went to the doctor. Didn't come back for 3 months. When she came back, she looks at me, and I'll never forget it. I was walking down the hallway, and she says, please don't look at me. And I said, what's going on? And she said, you scare me. And I said, what happened? And, she cried and hugged me. And she said, we spoke with the school. I'll never forget 3 months ago what you told me. And when you were really genuinely saying, this is what you saw, I went to the doctor, and she got it checked out. She had a 6-pound tumor in her throat. And the doctor the next day had her in surgery. And 3 months later, she came back. And she says to me, if you would have never said what you said, I would have going without knowing this was there.
Yeah.
And I would have died.
Wow.
So that's what seers do.
Yeah.
We are able to see beyond things and really know what we're seeing and speak on it. Now, if I go back to that age, I was about 17. I don't think there's a 17-year-old that wants to be looked at like they're about to commit some kind of crime,
or that they're weird,
or made signaled out by the school.
Of course.
So I always tell people, this is something that is not a burden, but it takes us time to really process and understand. This is what I'm here for. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure there are other kids younger than me, or there's been kids younger than me that struggled. And there's struggle in this, and I think and that maybe that's another part of my triggers is, don't be so disrespectful to those people that are actually struggling with something that they don't understand, and they feel disconnected from others.
Of course.
And then we have the divination systems, which I feel like anyone can get into, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about it, the oracle cards, the angel decks. Those are all divination tools that if you use for yourself or you use for another person, but don't give yourself a title of a medium or a title of a psychic because you're using those divinations. They're divination tools. And then we talked about manifestation. And I said to you, I feel like really manifestation is when we come to understand that we created something out of nothing.
Of course, yeah.
And manifestation, what I have a problem with in that is the trend of it.
That's crazy. You're kind of like in my head right now. I wanted to ask you that. So I know kind of manifestation and spirituality in a sense kind of go hand in hand. Salem is like right by the camera. Mm-hmm. It's so cute. How do you feel about the trend behind what spirituality is now and manifestation?
I think the trend, and the trend is what I call Karen. The Karen. I don't call anybody practicing the trend Karen. I call the trend Karen, the trend itself.
Yeah.
Not the people, because they're misinformed, and then that's what's causing all of this interesting mental ups and downs, right?
Yeah.
To me, when you see people saying, I manifested this, I manifested that, I manifested this, I manifested that, it's sending out the wrong message. Mm-hmm. Because you see, and that's all in the media, the social media.
Of course, yeah.
You'll see the person saying, I manifested this new car, I manifested this new house. But what did they really do to get the money?
They worked hard for it.
Maybe. But
hopefully,
but you don't really know it.
Yeah.
Was it really Was it really manifested?
Yeah.
But that's all behind the trend. Mm-hmm. That's all the trend. So my thing is that manifestation is when you've created something out of nothing.
Okay.
But don't let the trend make you believe that that's not manifestation just because they're posting things that's expensive, you know? Like I
Oh, I
said,
see what you're saying. Yes.
you don't know what they really did to get that. But in your world, you might have put in that hard effort. You might have said, am I planting my seeds in fertile ground, or am I planting them in dirt? Right? But you manifested something. You grew something out of nothing.
So I guess from what I'm taking out of what you said, manifestations don't always look like materialistic things.
Exactly.
Got it.
It could be something less, more
Yeah.
more deeper than that, or less obvious to the external world, but obvious to you.
In your internal world.
And that's really what it is. That's really what manifestation is. But then you don't have people who are willing to and this is what I've told all the people. I may get shunned by the community.
Yeah.
I may get a lot of backlash because I am speaking on a lot of truth and a lot of things that I'm trying to reset a spiritual mindset where people are taking it, are predators. They're becoming predators
beyond the trend,
and they're becoming predators because they are seeing you need the help, and they're willing to take your money, and you're willing to give it.
And I kind of dislike that aspect of what's happening right now. I love the fact that people are now more willing to explore avenues like the ones that you have created or you're diving into. But it also gives room to people, like you said, predators, that kind of see this trending and kind of want to make money off of it instead of actually helping.
And then that's what leads me to, I guess, what the whole point of the podcast is, if you are a person that's out there looking for this, to get into this world, to really understand what you're looking to get out of it. Do you feel like you're a person that has a gift that you want to explore? And if you want to use it for divine service, then really ask yourself, am I looking for guidance or a mentor? There's a difference. Guidance is when you go and talk to someone and they help you unpack, and then they say that you come out of it with a different answer or different perspective, or you find the answer within the conversation.
Of course. And
then a mentor would say, you know what, there is something, let me help you. But I think you have to check yourself, your own motives, your own agenda. What do you want out of where you're going? Do you have something? And are you going to say, this is what I see, this is what I feel? Am I crazy? In a sense.
In a sense.
Or are you really just looking to seek guidance, like what's coming into my life? Or are you wanting to gain some kind of power? Because that's what I was trying to tell you from the beginning.
Course.
I was born into this. I was born like this. I just took time off from it. And I don't know if you're able to do that, but everyone's life is designed different.
Exactly.
And in my own life, I said, you know what? I need to pull away and figure things out. I didn't come in and say, I want to buy to be a psychic. I want to buy to open my third eye. Or whatever else people think that this is. But that's what we have to look at ourselves, and then look at red flags, and then look at the person you're going to. Are they looking to feed you delusions because they want the money? Or are they really being honest and truthful and trying to say to you, this is really what you need? You don't need to go further than that, or you don't need to go beyond that, but this is where you should be. And then that's how there's integrity. That's how
there's
it's
authenticity.
Not, and it's not a business. Somebody actually cares of your health, your well-being.
Of course.
And listen, I've had people come in, and I advocate for therapy, mental health. And sometimes I say, cold cut, you don't need to be here. You need to be in a therapist, with a therapist.
So that's the difference. You are willing to miss out on a buck or two, just so people can actually get the help that they really truly need.
Yeah. And it took that's why it took a lot of work to get here, to be able to say that this is, my lifestyle. And I try my best to be honest to it, and I try my best to guide with honesty. But I think what makes it hard is everything else going on the trending, everything else. So that's easy for us to get caught in it and say, well, no, they didn't go to therapy. And, so it really does fall on to who you're going to, who you are going to look for the guidance or the mentorship from, how this person is taking time to really, figure themselves out, to be able to guide someone.
Because that's true. I mean, you can only help someone as much as you help yourself. I remember in one of my classes in school, they were talking about teaching and self-reflection, how that kind of goes in hand. Because if you aren't self-reflective of your teaching, you really can't help someone in a better way.
Which falls back to, who you're looking at as a spiritual parent, if you're going into an initiate. Because since I know about the Afro-Caribbean traditions, it is an initiation. You have to be initiated in order to be able to receive certain things or know certain things. It's not really gifts, is more so materialistic stuff, like the santo or and then they bring you the ashe, they bring you the blessings, they bring you what they see fitting for you.
Gotcha.
But it's an initiation, and that's why I say you can't really Google all of that, because you have to go into a setting
and actually practice what they say
and ask, and they have to be authentic. Maybe they can say to you, and you know what, this is really a true, because it happened to me. We asked the santo, can this person be in this house? Do they have to receive this? For me, they said yes, and for my sister at the time, they said no. This wasn't for her. So it's not really the person, it's what they have there in their home, what's been initiated onto them, that dictates whether or not this is something you should be dabbling in. So that's all traditional. That's all. But you have to go to a person that is willing to be authentic and explaining this to you. And then I guess the whole conversation of this is, are they being predators in this? And the red flags in there would be, look at them. Is there a lot of drama in their houses? Is there power struggles? This person can't act up, because if they do, they're gonna have it coming. I'm gonna put them in this pot, or I'm gonna put them in this thing, and then the whole world is gonna go backwards. So then it's you contradict yourself. And sometimes is it that your godparent is saying this person is evil in me or throwing things at me, I have to protect myself? Is it what I said to you earlier? Are they in delusions? And are they feeding you delusions? Because then you're like, oh my God, then I'm going to be hated on like that, and I'm going to be battling the world
if I stray away
too. So you have, those are all red flags you have to look at. Is there a lot of drama around this in this house? Is there so much fear? Are they telling you? Because it does happen too. Sometimes they'll say, if you don't get initiated, you're gonna die, or this is gonna die, or this is gonna go wrong, or this is gonna go bad.
That kind of reminds me of the
fear
whole
tactic.
Catholicism thing, and where it's like, if you don't do this or you don't follow the 10 commandments, you're gonna go to hell and stuff like that. I don't want to necessarily generalize it, but I do want to bring awareness to it, because I feel like people kind of get lost in this idea of, if I don't do such and such thing, I'm scared that this will happen to me.
It's all fear tactics.
And
I think that if you find yourself in a place where someone is trying to manipulate you through fear and insecurity, then you will grow in that. That's what your power becomes, fear and insecurity. And that's what we have to really, if we're looking to go into these things, to really just keep an eye on.
Of course. Don't narcissists kind of thrive off of that, in a sense where it's like they build their power because of feeling insecure and because of feeling so fearful of not being in this position anymore.
And that is what's the difference between being born medium and going into something that's already a system. It's already a community, because a lot of these people know of each other, and it becomes like a popularity contest. So it's really about, so that's what we speak about, these mentors, these parents, these teachers. it's all based on tradition. And then we have the people that follow magic, and I believe that magic it's born in it's us. And then I know when people come, I read for them, I sit with them, we spend the amount of time we are together, and then I've been very blessed to have them be word of mouth refer me. But I know that I've worked really hard to retain my integrity and earn my respect, because I work hard to know what I'm doing and follow my own identity, follow my own unique fingerprint, my own essence. And in turn, that's my magical essence. This is what I decided to believe in and nurture and nourish and help others with. And I feel like there's a difference between what I've been in, and I have all my initiations and I don't talk bad or ill of them, but in the sense, I'm not really the kind of person that believes that if you don't question, or you can't question, or you're not taught because it's not good for you, or you don't need to know, then there's a cult-like mentality.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about really telling people, be careful with cults. At the end of the day, any kind of religion practice, has some truth and beauty into it, but you really have to look at the practitioners. How are they carrying such a thing? And if you see red flags, then keep going. You'll find what works for you. But not everyone is born to do that.
Of course. And I guess people kind of also prey on this notion that everybody wants to feel a part of something, a part of a community. So it's so easy to get sucked into any one community that kind of welcomes you without really noticing, okay, like they kind of do this and maybe that's not okay, or they kind of do that but that's a red flag, maybe I should just stray a little farther. Like you're saying, just to be patient and then one day you'll find
be patient. Yeah. I feel that if you're patient with anything you're doing, you'll be able to really see the red flags in people, and not waste your time and money.
Of course.
At the end of the day, I'm talking out of experience. I've had people come and tell me the amount of money they've paid for something, and I just sit there like, wow,
that's a lot of money. I could buy a car.
Yeah.
You said a boat?
12K, right?
Yeah.
Some people played it. And I sit there and I think to myself, wow, how's that possible? People have their ways. But that's what brings this negative context of it's all about the money.
Yeah.
And it takes away from the people that actually are talented and have a gift and can help. And it's really about, if we take the time to just listen to the people we're going to, we'll really realize, wow, this person's drunk off power, or they're just trying to use this to bully. And I think that because of that, my experiences, and going into seances and being told by people that have mounted spirits or possessed by them, things that were not even real, in a room full of strangers.
Yeah.
Like, all of that is what also made me feel like this is what makes anybody believe you could just become this. You could just get into this. And you can make money. But that's not the case. When you are a psychic, a medium, you have a responsibility to the person you're reading. Because I've shared my experiences with you, the horrible things they've said. And I said to you, if there was somebody in that room that worked in some form of government service, social work, or cop, I would have gotten in trouble behind the things
that they told you
and weren't even real.
Exactly.
And so it takes a level of responsibility.
Because you're essentially delivering messages, right? And some of the messages aren't the nicest to hear.
Or real.
Yeah.
But then that person, because they're mounted or there's a spirit in them, they hold this title and they have this
power over people.
Yeah. And people are meant to believe it. But a lot of people know that when you come into my sessions, it's very, very, very clear. Very, very. There's no theater behind it. I'm not gonna sit here and float off the table, or you're not gonna see my head spin around and tell you there's something inside me
a couple of times.
No, and that's what honestly people who've come said. I thought that something would go in you and something else would talk to me, and I said, no, I know I've seen it, but that's not what I do. Now, I'm not saying that a medium trance, that's a mediumistic trance, people that go into a trance, that won't ever happen, but I'm not accelerating it, and I'm not posing as it, and I'm not, walking around like there's something inside of me. I think that's the furthest thing I'm trying to portray. But I think above all in this is really ask yourself, if you want to come into this world, why you're trying to come into it. Are you meant for it? Are you being called into it? Or is there something that your soul needs healing in? And once you receive it, you hope that you find the person that says to you, this is enough for you.
Yeah.
You don't need to go further. You don't need more. Because, it does come down to how everything is poison, but everything isn't. Everything has a balance.
Yeah.
How much of this do you need, and how much of it don't you need? Yeah. Or how many times within your lifetime should you come and get this medicine? Is it once a year? Is it twice a year?
Of course.
But not overdoing it, or not being feared into doing something that you're not really meant to have. If whomever's coming into your life is not willing to sit and guide you all the way, because that's what happens. There's a lot of confusion behind it.
Yeah.
At least from my point of view, it's really about how I aligned myself to my calling and how I'm still doing it every single day. And I think that I've become a server to God and then serve humanity behind it. And I've learned that through this spiritual work, and I've talked about it in my sessions, that, these beautiful crystals are a gift of earth, and the candles and everything we do. But at the end of the day, we have to be humble enough to know that God's will always be done. And there's no crystal, there's no bath, there's no African chicken goat that we're going to kill or slay anywhere that's going to stop God's will. Yeah. Whatever God had designed for us is going to happen. And I think that that's where we fall into this micromanaging kind of mentality, that we have to micromanage our destiny, and we forget that we're co-creating with God and our angels and our loved ones to kind of get to build the life we want to live.
It's essentially the fear of not knowing what your life is going to turn out to be. I feel like people, especially me, even on this journey myself, I don't know what life is going to look like in the end. So I'd rather micromanage and make sure I control every little avenue I take, because hopefully then I'll feel security. But God doesn't give us security. He just gives us hope and faith that everything will be okay.
And knowing that what's meant to happen is going to happen. But it could be a prayer in disguise.
Of course.
It could be that scary, painful thing that happened is actually a prayer in disguise. But these are the kind of conversations that you will have with someone that is doing further work than just, the obvious kind of work.
Yeah.
That's someone that's really going deep into stuff.
Exactly.
And I can tell you from my own experience and my own loved ones in heaven and God are a real thing. And I can tell you one very recent message I received through a reading for someone that talks about what you just said about living life and fear of control, and that God only gives us, he doesn't give us security, but he gives us that hope, right?
Yeah. That's
what you said, because you want to live in a comfort.
Yeah.
And that, I think everybody does. But, I did a reading for someone, and I'm not going to say names because I don't know if they want me to reveal, but I will tell you, right?
Beep.
I will tell you that I read this woman, and I said to her, there's a spirit who's coming in, and he's telling me that there was a lot of secrets behind him, and that they weren't found out until he died. And that even after the secrets were found out, there was a lot of gossip, or there was a lot of "I told you so." Like, he wasn't that perfect. There was something wrong. So I kept working, I kept reading. And then come to find out, I said to him, this person tells me that they died in a car. And then there was they showed me a gunshot. I hear a shot, like a gunshot go off.
Yeah.
And, I talk about an addiction, and I'm like, now there's an addiction going on. And I'm just trying to kind of register what the spirit is saying.
And understand the story.
And long story short, the woman looks at me and she says, I know who you're sensing. And I said to her, did you lose like a lover, a significant other? She says, yes, that's him. So long story short, the secret was he dealt with coke while they were together. She never knew of the addiction. And the only reason why she found out was because he did drive to drop off the child. He drove off and shot himself. And when the autopsy came, he had coke in his system.
Oh.
And I've never met this woman, and the reading was done. She's in another state. It was right off
FaceTime?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm looking at her, and she's looking at me, and she's like, how the heck did you know this? And I said, he's coming in. He knows that I can talk to him, and he knows that there's a moment in time where he can tell you what he needs to tell you.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I'm not going to lie. I told him, I'm not sure who this is, but this is what I'm feeling. This is what they're trying to connect with about.
Mm-hmm.
But she was able to make sense of what didn't make sense to me. That's what a medium does. We deliver what doesn't make sense to us, but it means the world to the person that's hearing it.
Of course.
And that's what I've come to understand in my alignment is don't question it, don't doubt it, just say it. Because it might not make sense today, might not make sense tomorrow, might not make sense next year, but when the time comes, the message will be received. So why am I saying this? I've seen stuff in the other side that have to be corrected here. And that was one of them.
Wow. That's a very powerful story that you just touched upon.
Now I remember why we brought that up. Because he talked about faith and security and trying not to live life, I guess, in so much control, but not having control could become scary. So, she tells me what it was. We talk about it, my client and I. And then I say to her, I understand what he's trying to tell you. I know the message.
Mm-hmm.
She said, well, what is it? And I said, he wants you to not wait until you're dead to start to live life. Because that's what happened to him. He, in the moment that he started unpacking on the other side, he understood the addiction was done out of fear because he lost control in parts of his life.
Wow.
And because of that, he stopped living. He relied on something in secret for so long.
Yeah.
That he was saying to me, please tell her what I want her to take out of this is to not be afraid to live. Not regret it when she comes here. That she didn't live enough. That she didn't do enough in her life. And now we're here. So that was the whole moral to that story, why I brought it up. What I've learned from the other side is don't be afraid to do something when you get the opportunity to. Now, I'm saying it within reason.
Of course, because you don't want to be like too crazy either, where it's like, oh my gosh, yeah.
But that is what they teach me. And I learned through every different session I give and gain clarity through. And maybe that is what you need to know in your own journey through life is,
of course,
even though we may not have that full security of the future, but what counts is the present
and moments like these
that we're living in, and that we're not afraid to live them.
Yeah. And that's essentially why I kind of like this path, because I was talking to Lita the other day, and I told her, I don't want to live a life where I question, what if I tried? What if I didn't try?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's beauty in moments like those,
Mm-hmm.
Such as the one that you've taken, because it isn't easy to take the path you're on now, where it's like, I want to be able to help people through this mediumship and be able to help them channel messages that they aren't aware of or they never knew, because not a lot of people gravitate towards it. So I think it's beautiful that you yourself have taken a path less traveled by, is what I'm trying to say, because there's growth in that too.
I feel that it's definitely a path where I used to tell myself, if I do this, who's going to want to talk to their dead relatives when they didn't talk to them in person? Right? But going through my own losses and really being in that shoe, I catch myself saying, wow, if I only had that one more hug, even I go through it. And then I think I understood, you know what? This is very much needed. This is very much, as much as people don't know they need it, they do. They need to open that door and close it better.
Of course.
And the sad part is that, there are people out there that are not genuine to the art, and they're harming more than they're helping.
Of course.
But there are people out there that are really gifted and
willing to help.
And have a strong sight, a strong mediumship gift, or have a really good foundation in their religion of initiations, and they can say, this is what the Santo is saying, and you shouldn't go further here. There are those people out there. They're just not the easiest to come by.
Yeah.
And that's really what happens here.
Can it be like a cat relationship where, how you said how cats find you, you don't find them, in a sense where it's like you'll find your perfect cat, or they'll find you, I guess?
Yes, I do. Yes, you will find, life will bring you to where you belong.
Exactly.
But that's the whole point too. You have to align yourself first. You have to know what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, then you're not really going to know what to go after. And
I need that on a shirt.
Right? But then also, that's, as a psychic, that's my psychic part.
Exactly.
Me as a psychic, I can sit down and tell you, this is where you should be looking. This is the box that you should be in. And don't go here because you're going to hit a brick wall. But go here because this is where you'll see, wow, I didn't know I wanted this, but now that I'm in it, I want it more than ever. And that's the difference between a medium and a psychic. Because there's a difference between every gift that we all can connect to, but not all have, right? A medium is, we connect with the other side.
Of course.
But not just loved ones, angels, those other entities and those other parallel universes that do exist. And then a psychic is a person that can see there's an illness, get it checked, or that can say, don't go here because you're going to hit a brick wall.
Yeah.
But that can guide you to where you should be. That's the psychic part, and it's what I've been also telling my niece, and I heard it in school, and I heard it when I went to her school. They said, you have to make good choices. And I think my responsibility as a medium psychic is not to tell my clients to make good choices, but to make the greatest for your life.
Wow.
But I've learned that through parenting.
Well, yeah. Through parenting.
Through parenting.
Yeah.
There's no magical recipe there. I learned that really through parenting. It's we're past good choices, I think that if we go back deeper, our ancestors made those good choices.
Yeah.
They made the good choice to migrate.
Yeah.
They made the good choice to work hard. They made the good choice to do everything they gave us.
Yes.
But how disrespectful are we to them?
Yes.
To still be stuck in those good choices.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you for saying that, because how lucky am I to be able to experience life outside of the one that was instilled prior, right? It's beautiful. And for, like you said, how how unfair of us, or
disrespectful.
how disrespectful, right?
Yeah.
To not continue what our hearts desire and stuff like that.
But not only that, by doing it smarter.
Exactly.
By doing it wiser.
Yes.
Because the hard work, all of that, good choice, that was already given to us.
Of course, yeah.
And that's what I've learned through parenting is, you know what? Don't continue this cycle of trauma through her. Break it. All of that was done for you.
Yeah.
Do it different. Do it more loving. Do it more compassionate. Do it more less oppressive, or less controlling, and more so let's work on trust. Let's build it. Because we know kids grow up and they go on, and you hope you made a good adult out of that child. But I think even as a psychic medium and everything I'm doing, it always does go back to your ancestors. It always does go back to your parenting, how you were parented.
Yep.
And how much are you willing to work through. And then in this whole spiritual versus spiritual mentors versus who is preying on us, in a sense, who's really out to get our money, then really wants and doesn't really want to help.
Yeah.
It goes back to that, where did they learn things from? Where did they grow up? Look at their background, their
how
households.
they healed from it.
Ask questions.
Yes.
And if it's not aligned to their actions, it's a red flag. I am a big believer that actions speak more louder than words.
Oh yeah.
And if you see that who you're choosing to want to guide you is not aligning in any shape, way, or form, and you just like to question and it's not willing to be answered, you don't want to be in a cult. I'm always going to go back to that.
Yeah.
Don't go into a cult.
Please don't.
No.
Make smart choices, guys. Be patient.
Be patient.
And make sure you watch out for those red flags, because you could really get yourself into a situation that isn't very loving and fulfilling. And there have been dangerous things that come out of cult-like behavior. But we're not gonna touch the bad law.
No.
Because but yeah.
It's a lot of I think that it's really about knowing, all of us knowing that God is real. I'm always going to go to that. I always tell people, it's not that I'm a preacher, it's that I know what I've seen.
Yeah.
And I know when those spirits and those loved ones come, they talk about it. They talk about the angels. And then I ask myself, why are we here? Why are they there? And I think we all do that. We all question and ponder the meaning of life. But to be honest, what I've noticed is we're here to live, to learn, to grow, to hurt, to feel. Feel is what we were talking about.
And wasn't that your daily message?
My daily,
today?
is to feel more and think less. And that's what the other side is. It's love. It's never ending. But it's what we do here while we're living that really matters for our soul. The other side does have jobs. They've told me that too. The moment they're done unpacking and processing, they're put into an assignment. It's not Starbucks, it's not McDonald's, it's not any of that.
Yeah.
But it is a job for their soul to continue to do their growth. Now, I'm not saying that, we're living and we're working, then we die and we keep working.
That's
no,
what I was about
right?
I was about to say. I was like, damn, I'm never going to get to sleep.
No, I'm not saying, but what I'm saying is, our soul is continually evolving for better. It's transforming. But I feel what I found the most comfort in is that worrying is a waste of time. Worries, burdens, anger, all of those emotions.
Yeah.
They're a waste of time.
They are.
It's really about just sharing with, who life brings to you. And valuing and cherishing those moments. And that's what we take. We don't take anything with us.
Oh no.
Nothing goes with us.
Thank you so much, Uriel, for having this conversation with me.
It was my pleasure.
Of course, it was very insightful, and I hope this helps our listeners really decipher who and who isn't the best fit for them when it comes to spiritual practices or spiritual guidance or mentors.
And how to shop for them, in a sense.
Exactly. Because essentially, you know, it is our money. It is our time. So we have the right to choose who we feel like is going to give us the best, of course.
The best investment.
Exactly.
Because it is an investment.
For yourself, yeah.
But it's also about what you're looking for. I think that you need to be clear on what you're looking for. Like I said, are you looking for guidance?
Yeah.
Are you looking to buy power? Are you looking to have a mentor in your life?
Yeah.
But if you don't know why anyone's going to feed you something, you're going to believe it.
Yeah.
So I think that it does come back to the person that's looking, that's actually actively getting up and looking. Do your research. Look, follow. Don't fall into the trend.
Yeah. Please don't, because it's so easy to do so.
To fall into the Karen.
Yeah.
I coach the trend Karen. I said
it. You're so cute.
Thank
you again, Uriel, for this healing conversation. I hope we get to sit together again sometime.
I do believe we will.
Do you have any socials you want to share with us?
Just my Instagram, the Luna _44. De la Luna _44.
That's such a beautiful Instagram name, by the way.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you.
So I'll make sure to add that into our descriptions. And otherwise, have a wonderful day, guys. Stay beautiful. Bye.
Bye.